Happy New Year, Barb. Great to be with you again. It's a good question. I don't know that step parenting or adoptive parenting is necessarily different per se. Now, having said that, there's a lot of literature to show that it is different, but we still bond with our kids. We still attach to our kids, and we certainly want to treat our kids similarly, which is not to say the same, but certainly with love and affection, regardless of biological step or adopted. So, we got to be careful about being too judgmental in situations about which we know little or nothing. And so to run to, it's all about Nicole, what she didn't do, what kind of a parent wouldn't acknowledge her adoptive kids. For all we know, she was doing them a favor. We don't know what went on behind the scenes. It may be that those children have requested of her, please don't mention us, please don't draw us into the public life. So her behavior may actually have been respectful of the children. But we, looking from the outside, there's a tendency to go to a quick and often a harsh judgment. So I just want to mention that from the get-go, that maybe she was acting in their favor at their behest. So that could be one piece of it. The other piece of it is, we do know that they had a tumultuous separation, her and Tom Cruise. The kids stayed with Tom. There was a lot of discussion about estrangement or alienation between parent Nicole and the kids. Estrangement is when my behavior creates the conditions where you don't want to relate to me. Alienation is when the other parent's behavior kind of intervenes and pulls the kids away from me. So we don't know to what degree there were any of those processes going on. But if there were, for Nicole to speak of these kids on air could create further consternation for the children as well. So it actually may have been in their interest that she didn't mention them. Yeah. Yes. That's such a good question. So does the step parent maintain contact with the step kids if those parents separate? And I see that goes a number of different ways, really depending upon the relationship that pre-existed between the parent and the stepkids. And, we would like to think that those relationships do continue. I do hear stories sometimes where there's almost an expectation of letting go. I do hear stories of the children and the step parent grieving the loss of that relationship significantly. We would like to think that even when the parents separate, those relationships can continue. And usually it's in the interest of the step parents, assuming a non-abusive relationship, that those relationships do continue. Well, that's a legal question, so I have to be cautious about wading into legal matters as a social worker. However, there is, a concept of local parentis, that if you've acted as a parent in a parental role for a year or so, you may be considered a parent in the eyes of the court. You may have rights and you may have obligations as a parent in those circumstances. So those are questions that are best to ask a family law lawyer. But having said that, we still want to keep these matters away from the courts, and hopefully people can resolve these relationships and the change in family structure peacefully. The degree to which people can resolve these matters peacefully, you have a better chance of those relationships continuing. Yeah. Sure. So again, these are very complex issues, and so much depends upon the age of the children, the age of those children when the parents are separating, and the length of which there was a relationship. So assuming a long-standing relationship, yes, it would typically be in the interests of those kids to have the relationship continue. Look, the more people that love you, Barb, you feel better. The more people that love me, I feel better. It's true. And so, from a child's perspective, to be cared for by more caring adults in their life is a good thing. What isn't good for kids is unremitting conflict between the parents, whether those parents are adoptive, biological, step. It's conflict that's harmful to the kids. So, to the separating parents, we want to give them the message: keep your issues separate and apart from the needs and interests of the children, and advance the children's needs and interests above your own. Thanks, Barb. All the best. Bye-bye.